of 2018, where I took 7 days and I went somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was working at Savannah at the time, and I flew out from Savannah and went. And it was my first time going back to the city since I had moved away, and seeing all those people. And it was incredible. I had made like one reservation at Qua prior to going out there, and I ended up eating fucking everywhere. And everybody was so happy to see me. And I went and made pasta with the guys at Quince again at 6 a.m. And reconnected with Nico. He was doing purchasing with him at that time. And I went and saw Josh. That was really important to me to do, to see him and talk to him. And he invited me down to Saison, and it saved my ass because I was talking to Johnny. I went to the Marin Farmers Market with Johnny. Mm-hmm. He was the culinary director for Dominique at that time, and they were working on the Bar Cren concept, and just not opened at that time. So we went to Marin and got his stuff for the day. Went over to Altier Cren, and his thought was we were going to hang out, and I was going to sit at Bar Cren and eat some courses and stuff after we hung out. Yeah. And he just gave me all the produce that we got at the market. It was like, he cleaned these onions and these fava beans and all this shit. And I was like, yo, dude, I didn't even have any fucking knives, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to relax.
Trying to chill, dog.
I didn't come out and that's just Johnny. Johnny's always working. Do you know Johnny Black?
I might have met him in passing a couple times, but I never really got to know him.
That would be a good guy.
Yeah, I definitely want to get him on. It's cool. Like after doing this session in Nashville and here, it feels like I sort of got a lot of the major players in the Sean Brock family, except for the man himself. So that's, I think, the plan is next time around, next tour, in the future is doing all the Saison guys, because I did Matty Kammerer, but that was, only one thread of the story, Yeah,
there's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's a ball.
We're all intertwined somehow, man. It's like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon up in here.
Yeah, man. I tell people all the time that there's so many opportunities to stay small world in this business.
Yeah.
It gets smaller and smaller like every year. That's
right. Yeah.
So I had actually gotten a call from Josh when I was in the kitchen fucking shucking fava beans at Altier Cren for Johnny. I was like, I gotta go. I go meet him. He's got the next 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I went and talked to him, and he was telling me all about the ranch project that he was doing and all this stuff, and just offhandedly was like, I've been looking for somebody like you for this new project. If you ever want to come back to the city, let's talk. And I was like, didn't think anything of it, whatever. And, they ended up inviting me back, and I had dinner that night. And it was the best meal I've ever had. Was that sitting solo at the bar at Saison, and eating that menu. It was exceptional. And it was started out kind of awkward because they poured me like one of the most expensive champagnes in the world as soon as I sat down, and I had to be like, hey, can you get that somebody that wants it? And
yeah.
So Bright just fucking darts over to me. I was like, what's up, man? Like, you're not drinking? It's like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
Like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm great. I'm so good. And they gave me NA pairings, and it was just fucking awesome. And I ended up that night, it was the most intense bang that I ever did, is I ate the full meal at Saison, and then I got in an Uber and I went over to Lazy Bear and I had the full meal at Lazy Bear.
That is a badass bang.
Like 5:30 until 11:30.
I'm about to do a bang in DC.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Really uncomfortable. But
once you get to that last course though at the second restaurant, you're like, I fucking did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
I did do it. I don't think I'll ever do it again.
Yeah.
I did do it. So, that was how Josh and I reconnected.
Okay.
Is I was just going and seeing all these people. And, when the Savannah thing happened, I come back. I've already pulled out of the deal that I was going to do in Nashville for that salumi project in Nashville, and I was like, okay, now what am I going to do? Like, I still want to do this salumi thing, whatever. And Josh and I can't remember how we got back in contact, but he reached out and told me a little bit about what he was working on, and he said that he needed somebody like me that could design a fermentation program for the Angler brand. And if I could do that he would incubate my meat business in San Francisco. He would personally fund it or get it funded. And I could incubate it out there and then move it wherever I wanted to.
Heard.
And I was like, that's too good to pass up.
Yep.
For sure. And we had spent like a month or two going back and forth about, initially to me, I was like, this needs to be contract labor, that you give me a really specific set of things that we're going to do and goals to hit, and we'll do our pay structure that way.
Yeah.
I'm
not doing hourly shit. Yeah.
At a salary, and then it came back from him and his partners that like salary was the only way they were going to do it. I had to come out there indefinitely, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was broke. I was like,
well,
everybody's like pulled out of this meat project that I want to do.
Yeah.
What do I got to lose?
I have no chips.
And so I put my stuff in storage, and I went back out to Cali.
Mm-hmm.
And I got there the last couple of weeks, the last 2 weeks, probably, of friends and family before Angler opened.
Okay.
And the idea was that beneath that restaurant is a full square footage of the upstairs, downstairs, that was unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to become an FRP kitchen, and that would be mine for research and development to standardize the way that they preserved food across the board.
Yeah.
And the way that he described the Angler concepts to me was the LA one was going to be a vegetal focus, and so vegetable charcuterie and different ways of fermenting and drying vegetables and that kind of a thing was going to be a central part of that concept. And so when I got there, the approval from the city to start construction on the basement hadn't even happened yet. And so I ended up just being another sous chef opening this restaurant. You know what I mean?
It's always the way it usually works out.
The pastry dude gets fired, and so I thought I was going to do that for the opening, and they ended up sliding somebody else over, and I'm like the raw fish dude for the opening of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Just embrace the suck,
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
this is it.
This is
what we're
happening.
doing.
I'm here, and that's what's happening. And man, it was demoralizing. It was really frustrating because that was like the whole reason that I wanted to do a contract in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, to avoid
so they don't do that shit to
this
you.
Obvious shit that's gonna happen.
It's always restaurant shit.
And anyway, that was one of the most beautiful build-outs I've ever fucking seen.
It really is a beautiful restaurant.
Some really great things about it. And it's a wonderful restaurant.
So that second one was always their plan in L.A.
Yeah, they were supposed to be 3 months apart from each other.
Gotcha,
but
to be
like bang.
But
bang.
Restaurants, so.
Why any of the many people that were convinced that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Were convinced that was going to happen. I don't know, but the way that it was is when you're standing on the line, like you're looking at the bay, like you've got the Bay Bridge in the window.
Yeah.
It just couldn't be more gorgeous, especially first thing in the morning.
It really.
As far as like a place to work. So it became like really evident to me almost immediately that like none of the things that we had talked about
are going to happen. Did you have a chance to pull him over and be like, hey man?
We talked about it 3 separate times, and we never, he was never around at a point where we were able to have that conversation, and that really irked me a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And 3 months into it, the HR lady and the culinary director pulled me aside one morning and were like, we're eliminating your position. There's, way too much salary,
overhead
right now. Because you got to think, man, at that time, they had hired the entire management staff for LA that was being trained in that restaurant.
Oh, God.
They were all working full-time hours. The full, 5 sous chefs, and, 3 front-of-the-house managers or whatever it was.
So it's like $800,000 in salary?
Dude, there was probably, 1.8 just in salary in that building.
That's rough.
They had spent a month of friends and family of not taking a single dime. They'd spent $10 million to get the restaurant where it was.
Yeah.
And I couldn't conceive of whatever business plan was floating out there somewhere where this eventually got paid for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just didn't make any sense to me. Even as expensive as it was, I couldn't see where this was gonna go. You know what I mean? It didn't make any sense to me. Anyway, so they are like, well, we really appreciate you coming out here and yada yada. Here's a fucking week's pay.
Yeah.
See ya. And that was tough because that was exactly why I wanted to do a contract in the first place. Never got a chance to talk to Josh about it.
To this day?
No, we did.
Okay.
We did while I was still out there.
Gotcha.
And we didn't get to talk about why he straight up lied.
Yeah.
About
exactly
what the fuck was happening.
Yeah.
But we talked about some of the what was happening around everywhere with that at the time.
Yeah.
And Michael had just opened Verjus,
Uh-huh.
right around this same time, that wine bar in Jackson Square. And we had kept in contact, when I came out and saw him and Ada Quince and stuff when I was out earlier that year. He had made me an offer to come run Catonia for 6 months because he was so desperate.
Yeah.
And, wanted to help him find a CDC. That's one of the toughest jobs just in F&B out there.
Yeah.
Right now. Always has been. And, we got together and talked, and he hired me to be his culinary director for the QPA group. And I did a lot of work with Verjus.
So you were working with Nico and things like that on purchasing?
Yeah, Nico was still a purchaser when I came on, and he left maybe a month after I got there or something like that. But that was really cool to reconnect with Nico.
Yeah, such a nice guy.
He's one of the best.
The most humblest human beings I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, he's salt of the earth, man.
Yeah.
He called me not long ago because MT had pulled one of his cooks and was like, "What do I do? How do I deal with this? And how am I supposed to feel about this and this kind of thing?" And we had a really good talk about how none of the shit's personal.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get angry.
You can't think that somebody's trying to get one over on you. It's not how it works.
Yeah, and that's that passion business thing. It's the best move for business was putting this person here, and then the passion is well, I was teaching that person.
Right.
They were my student, bro. Exactly.
And,
yeah.
Somebody else that I have a personal connection with is getting rid of it.
But you know what? That's amazing that he has that in you to be able to call and talk about that. Because the worst thing is when you can't call your mentors, or you call them and they're just not there.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
I was just alone out there.
Yeah.
With nobody to filter something through.
Exactly.
Where the mentors that I did have were in effect inaccessible.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
The way I feel
when I needed them in really critical situations.
Yeah. The way I feel is if I'm your mentor, if I've been your chef, you have me forever.
Yeah.
Call me anytime, and I will take the time to answer your questions.
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think that relationship, when you give of yourself so freely to a person, that we should put some kind of restraint or restriction on it.
Yeah.
Obviously, people are different and people will take advantage and that kind of a thing.